Hello everyone, welcome to the CTV News on Calabash TV and on the Wave Radio 94.5. I am Lisa Joseph and we focus this first segment on developments surrounding the impacts report and the Prime Minister's address to the nation on its findings. There is a level of anxiety, discomfort and low morale within the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. That's the confirmation from the High Command of the force to local media Friday morning at a specially convened press conference. Acting Commissioner of Police Errol Alexander, flanked by members of the executive of the police force, said the organization is deeply touched by the revelations made by Prime Minister Dr. Kenny Anthony during his address on the findings of the investigation into alleged extrajudicial killings by members of the police force. These members were part of a special task force constituted to bring an end to wanton lawlessness on the streets of the capital and communities. Drawn from various police units and police stations, the officers are accused of executing known criminal elements, faking encounters to justify their actions, and planting evidence, including weapons, at the scenes of the shootings. The Assistant Commissioner with responsibility for operations, Dorian O'Brien, says the officers in question are demoralized. The force, he says, is looking into providing counseling for the men.
The meeting was with these men was quite cordial. I will not say that they are in high spirits because the report actually did point towards them. And with reference to psychology, the assistance with reference to getting them psychologists, etc., we did speak about it, and it is something the executive is looking at. And yes, they are still in operation, they are still working, and they have also given me the commitment that they will continue to do their job as professionals, and that is what they were employed to do, and they will continue doing so. The individual who is the direct supervisor would ensure that probably they are not in the front line, meaning that you probably have to ensure that these persons are kept at bay so that it can have that soothing effect on the psyche. So you would not put them in the front line at present. But there are others who are there, and the job is continuing. And the men, they are willing to continue to work, but at least you have to keep them. But that would be an administrative matter dealing with the actual supervisor at the time.
Dr. Anthony, during Sunday night's address to the nation, reported that the impacts investigators were not fully cooperated with by members of the force. Computers, he said, had been tampered with in an effort to push certain data beyond the timeline of the period under investigation. Acting Police Commissioner Errol Alexander rebuffed the suggestion, saying that it remains largely allegations.
As we speak now, we really haven't had an opportunity to go through the report. The report haven't been shared with us. All that have been shared with us and we have heard is the Prime Minister's address. So as far as we are concerned, everything else are allegations, not until we are able to see the report and read the report, or if further actions are taken with reference to what was sent to the DPP.
But you don't agree that you guys turned a blind eye while police officers were killing civilians and planting guns on them?
Well, Mr. Moshe will share some light on that.
Like you know, you heard the Prime Minister said that the report has been forwarded to the DPP and it is subject to review. So we cannot comment on a lot of these things now.
With the recommendation by Impacts for all officers involved in Operation Restore Confidence to be prosecuted, Deputy Police Commissioner Francis Henry says it is important that there ought not to be a rush to judgment in the public domain.
The very provisions in the Constitution as to the presumption of innocence is no different to members of the public who are perpetrators, seeming perpetrators of crime, or who fall under scrutiny for bad acts or criminal conduct. Coming out of the report, as it were, there are allegations of misconduct on the part of police officers. And there is a fundamental maxim that we have to be cognizant of. And that is, one, he who alleges must prove. And our very Constitution provides the presumption of innocence. A man is innocent until proven guilty.
The Director of Public Prosecution has been handed the responsibility of reviewing the impacts report in order to determine whether criminal action can be pursued in the matter. However, inquests into 11 of the 12 cases found no culpability on the part of the officers. Francis Henry was the ACP in charge of crime at the time.
After the completion of any operation, an investigation ensues. Once there is satisfaction that all that is available in terms of the collection of evidence, whether it is from witnesses or physical evidence that is collected at scenes and for the processing, a preliminary file is prepared and submitted to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution. After the initial submission of these files to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution, we received instructions that were complied with, and subsequently the matters on advisement had been referred to the coroner for the conduct of an inquest. All, and I emphasize, every one of the mentioned or suggested matters went through this very process. To date, to the best of my recollection, all but one of these matters have been completed. You too would remember specifically there was a particular one of these incidents, and I speak to the one in Marigot, where on completion of an inquest, we had a retrial and a retrial. This matter came up on 3 different occasions. So that meant that there had been the observation of due process. What happens is that after the coroner's inquest had been conducted, the findings are again submitted to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution for determination as to the continuance or the finality of these matters. And it is against that backdrop that all that we could have done, and when I say we, the police department, we observed everything that was standard procedure.
The acting commissioner says the police force in recent years has stood the test when it comes to disciplining members who contravene regulations and the laws of the land, and as such would not play into shielding those who act improper.
And the same way court procedures takes place, I said it before, is the same way our disciplinary process takes place, and recommendations are made in terms of what type or what level of discipline that should be imposed on the persons and them who are found guilty. So in terms of getting rid of police officers, we have to go through due process. I cannot come to work tomorrow and send police officers home. That's not my purview. My purview is to discipline police officers so that they are able to work within the confinements of our procedures, our guidelines, the laws of St. Lucia. That is what it is all about.
And the president of the Police Welfare Association says the public must allow due process to take its course and not expect a witch hunt.
We must allow natural justice to prevail. And nobody should ever be punished, and I'm not saying until they have been given a chance to know exactly what is against them and to rebut whatever they're being accused of. So we're saying that the report is a report just like any allegation. If it comes, what we're saying, if it comes to a point where the charges are going to be laid or the DPP is going to take action, we expect that the persons who may be implicated will have every opportunity to know exactly what they're being accused of, or it is alleged that they have done. The Police Welfare Association, I will say again, we have absolutely no choice but to support our members. Innocence until proven guilty is what it is. And they have not been proven guilty of any offenses. We cannot now, and nobody can speak to their guilt.
Cameron Law, of the president of the Police Welfare Association. Now, one of the remedial steps announced by the Prime Minister is the introduction of human rights courses at the recruitment level and for officers seeking promotions. The Assistant Commissioner for Territorial Policing says this is already taking place.
We have started doing training both at recruitment level and for all police officers within the organization. Last year we conducted about training for about 125 persons in this area.
And Prime Minister Anthony, in his address, reassured the nation of his administration's commitment to combating crime. Deputy Police Commissioner Henry echoed similar sentiments, stating that the police force is not at all weakened. There will be no letting up, she said, on efforts against the criminals as demonstrated since Sunday's bombshell.
Drug seizures, chasing after firearms, recovering firearms. We have had a serious issue when it came to human trafficking, and equal to the task, we continue to step up our operations. They continue to be strategic, and if at all that would provide any level of comfort, what has been said, the police department is not dysfunctional, will not be dysfunctional, and in spite of it hurting, as Mr. Alexander have indicated, we remain resolute in our pursuit of these criminal elements within the society. So there will be no let-up. They will push, and equally we will push back, because we have to ensure continued safety of every citizen of this country.
Deputy Police Commissioner there, Francis Henry, bringing a close to our close look at the police press conference held on the impacts report into the extrajudicial killings.